Ben Hecht was an American director, journalist, screenwriter, and novelist who was the ghostwriter of Marilyn Monroe's autobiography, won himself ire by supporting paramilitary action against British forces in Palestine, organized campaigns against the Ku Klux Klan in the 1920s, was an uncredited co-writer on Gone with the Wind, and in the 1920s he wrote 2 short novels, weird and bizarre, ranging from entertaining to a masterpiece of transcendental strangeness. His Fantazius Mallare, A Mysterious Oath, was published in 1922 in a small edition intended for private distribution, most of which was apparently seized by the authorities on the basis of both Wallace Smith's illustrations and Hecht's writing, landing both Hecht and Smith a summons to court and a fine of $1,000 each for obscenity, which comes out roughly at $14,700 each when including inflation. Nevertheless, Hecht penned a sequel called The Kingdom of Evil, also in a limited run. Fantazius Mallare begins with a lengthy introduction dedicated among other things to the social ones who regard belching as the sin against the Holy Ghost. The story focuses on Mallare, a narcissistic man living together with a, quote, dwarfed and paralytic Negro called Goliath. Mallare already seems around the bend when his journal contains claims like, "I prefer to live in this painted gloom because it is possible. I hate the sunlight. I hate even my rivals, the trees. Today I walked and found trees that resembled too closely people passing under them. One is impotent before such betrayal." Mallare takes a liking to Rita, a gypsy woman from a caravan, makes her come home with him, but then suddenly falls under the delusion that he killed her after murdering a beggar that his madness confused for her, and so he keeps treating Rita as if she was just his own imagination, a phantom created by his overwrought brain, treating her with bemusement and irony. He proceeds to even beat her, and when she tries to make him jealous by sleeping with the dwarf Goliath in front of him, he keeps just claiming how the dwarf is only somehow masturbating with his own phantom. That is Mallare's, and the denial here is staggering at this point, until Rita just picks up all her clothes and leaves for good. While the above is a fairly entertaining romp exploring the personal delusions of a madman, and brings us phrases like "the penis is the democratic tabernacle of life," the sequel here is the true masterpiece. Now, sequel should be used in quotation marks because the book is framed as taking place entirely in Mallare's subconscious and makes no reference of any sort to any event or character from the first book, hence why calling it a continuation in the title is a bit of a stretch. The Kingdom of Evil begins with a bunch of scientists and artisans suddenly being snapped up by a mysterious fog and then ending up on an island held prisoner by the enigmatic giant and stranger called Dr. Sebastian. One by one, each person is selected to help Sebastian create what he calls the Kingdom of Evil on the island, an artificial kingdom with palaces and domes, scientifically forged or dissolved by a fuse without any bricks or building of any sort. This place is being built specifically for Sebastian's love Cora, but she loathes the idea and attaches herself to Julian, the lone cynic on the island. Mallare, himself on the island, tries to make Cora love him, but she only despises the poor man and hates the entire idea being built around her. Finally, for Cora's sake, Sebastian has Mallare and company try to make a god. But initially all they can grow are hideous abominations, quote, creatures with boneless limbs and bodies like pouches, with swollen and pendulous heads riveting them to the earth, animate snail-like masses of flesh, hair-matted and mucus-covered, to name a few. These still infest the island, while the scientists eventually manage to grow a creature that they call their god, an ever-growing gigantic titan with Mallare's face. Following the previous debacle, Smith did not return to illustrate. His successor was Anthony Angarola, a man who was subsequently praised for his illustrations by H.P. Lovecraft himself, and while Angarola may not be as able to create such contortionist masterpieces as Smith, he is able to occasionally make a great illustration fitting the bizarre text perfectly. The first book of this series is easily available via Google Books or Project Gutenberg. However, the sequel just barely falls out of public domain, though if you are in the US you can view it via the Hussey Trust Digital Library copy. You can also buy the 2011 Kindle edition, or try to hunt down the hardcover from 76 or the paperback from 78. However you do it, read The Kingdom of Evil. Now, you can read the first book, but it's not necessary, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you put off reading the second book for far too long.